Hello friends, today we're taking you on an extraordinary journey into the world of natural disasters, where nature reveals its true power and magnificence. We've gathered breathtaking footage of natural catastrophes and rare phenomena that will leave you in awe and send chills down your spine. Massive floods that turn cities into watery traps, causing billions of dollars in damage. Colossal mountain landslides that sweep away everything in their path. Mini tornadoes appearing out of nowhere, surprising everyone. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Now let's go. France struggles with severe flooding. The river Loire was overflowed to its banks, engulfing everything in its path. Just look at what the city streets have become. Raging waters sweep away everything, including a small car that was washed away like a toy floating down a river. The roadside is littered with debris, tires, furniture, and other items carried from different parts of the city. A powerful current even dragged along a cow. It's a heartbreaking sight, as many animals have suffered due to the flood. Hopefully, the cow survived unscathed. A bridge spanning the river has sunk underwater. The river level has risen so much that it now flows out onto the roads. Broken tree branches brought by the current litter the asphalt. The road had to be barricaded, but it's unlikely anyone would dare cross the bridge after seeing its condition. Staircases between buildings have turned into waterfalls. A man stepped out onto his porch to capture footage of the street-turned river. Cars were halfway submerged and basements had been flooded. In some areas, the water rose so high that people had to climb out onto their rooftops. This was the most severe flood in the region in 40 years. 2 days of torrential rain brought a year's worth of precipitation, forcing thousands to evacuate. An unexpected flood in North Carolina. A man from North Carolina certainly didn't expect this when he stepped outside. Heavy rains placed his home right at the center of a flood. Imagine what he must have felt at that moment. His shed, located near the house, was almost completely submerged, with only part of the roof visible. It looked as if he wasn't standing on his porch, but on the deck of a ship speeding through the water. Without a boat, it seems getting to work would be impossible. A group of tourists was enjoying a scenic mountain view when they noticed small rocks and soil beginning to tumble down the slope near them. They had become witness to a landslide. Within seconds, a massive section of the mountain started sliding towards the river below. Several guides quickly shouted and urged the group to move back, but most tourists instinctively pulled their phones out to record the rare sight. The enormous chunk of the mountain descended with destructive force, raising a huge cloud of dust that resembled a waterfall. Massive boulders tumbled down the slope, with one landing dramatically in the river below, causing a spectacular splash. A man near the coast witnessed a truly extraordinary phenomenon. On one side, a vivid double rainbow arced beautifully over the sea, while on the other one, two simultaneous waterspouts danced across the water. Such a rare combination of natural events is something few ever get to see in person. In the deserts of the United Arab Emirates, dust tornadoes are a frequent occurrence. Sometimes their scales are truly impressive. A man driving his car came upon one of these tornadoes, witnessing tons of dust and sending sand swirling into the air. The tornado's striking color comes from the vast amount of sand it lifts. Some people even pulled over to capture photos and videos of the event. Interestingly enough, these tornadoes can produce lightning despite the sky being almost perfectly clear. While these dust tornadoes aren't destructive, it's best to keep your distance. If one's nearby, make sure to securely close your car windows and avoid breathing in the dust. Watch as the tornado is growing in size. The towering sand cloud now covers a vast area, stretching impressively high up into the sky. In late October, Spain experienced a massive flood, with Valencia being the hardest hit city. Residents watched helplessly as their streets were submerged. Torrential waters swept parked cars away, causing them to collide with each other and nearby buildings. In some areas, vehicles were carried from the outskirts of town. One man witnessed several cars being stopped by a palm tree, forming a towering pile of 5 vehicles. The scene was terrifying. A man narrowly escaped his car as it was swept away by the current. He climbed onto the roof and jumped onto a van to save himself. Many buildings lost power, and the air was filled with the sound of rushing water and the cries of people trapped in the flood. Despite waist-deep water, some residents braved the streets in search of safety. The situation near the bridge over the river was chaotic. The water raged below with violent force, appearing to boil as it surged. The current carried debris and broken tree branches, which became lodged in railings and were tossed into the waterlogged roads. Massive waves crashed near the bridge, illuminated dramatically by the lightning. Heavy rain and thunderstorms continued adding to the deluge. The power of the water was shocking. It effortlessly swept multiple cars away, sending them downstream. After the water receded, residents discovered a grim scene, a veritable graveyard of vehicles. Streets were blocked by piles of overturned and shattered cars, some missing headlights and with broken windows. In alleyways, dozens of vehicles were stacked in layers, covered in mud and silt. One video showed people seemingly standing on a bridge with a truck wedged beneath it. However, what appeared to be a bridge was actually a road, now completely submerged. The truck had been carried by the floodwaters and became stuck. Dozens of onlookers gathered to witness the aftermath. Nearby roads were inundated, with highways disappearing beneath deep water. Drivers who attempted to pass found themselves turning back to seek alternative routes. From her balcony, a woman captured footage of 8 cars aligned in a row, joined by a floating garbage container. The current swept the vehicles along, submerging one of them entirely in muddy water. Many people were stranded. A rescuer was seen helping a woman holding her small dog. They were nearly swept away as the water reached their shoulders. A rescue helicopter was called to hoist them to safety using a harness. Entire neighborhoods were underwater, and the rain showed no sign of stopping. When the water finally receded, streets were left covered in thick mud, with not a single car intact. Vehicles had been flipped, smashed, and damaged by debris and collisions. Alleys were clogged with cars stacked 2 layers deep, all filthy and coated in sludge. Water continued to pour from homes through gaps in doors. Streets resembled junkyards, filled with piles of garbage and mud. People used sticks to navigate the slippery terrain, as if the city had been hit by an apocalypse. The sheer number of cars swept into one street was astonishing. A rescuer struggled to climb over a heap of debris, furniture, and vehicles. Countless cars lay abandoned and broken. Those that remained functional were used to help clear the wreckage. One car blocked the entrance to a house and had to be dragged away with a rope. At this point, no one cared about preserving vehicles, as they were all far beyond repair. The mountain of destroyed cars caused major roadblocks, with vehicles being towed to clear paths. Imagine just how many were stuck in just one tunnel. In the wake of the disaster, thousands of volunteers and municipal workers mobilized to clean up. They unclogged drainage systems, removed debris from roads, and shoveled mud from around homes. Some older buildings collapsed under the pressure of the water, blocking streets with rubble. The flood triggered a food crisis. People quickly emptied supermarket shelves of essentials. Most stores were left barren, save for a few canned foods and sauces. This flood became one of the worst disasters in Spain in decades, claiming around 200 lives, with hundreds more missing. The streets remained covered in mud, and initial estimates suggested over 100,000 vehicles were destroyed. Volunteers and emergency crews from across the country arrived to help clear the debris and rebuild. Even the military and heavy machinery were deployed. With many stores destroyed and supply chains disrupted, residents relied on humanitarian aid. Hundreds of tons of food and drinking water were delivered, as clean water was scarce. Authorities estimated the damage at over $34 billion. Restoring infrastructure and utilities would take months, forcing many residents to temporarily relocate to other cities. A sudden snowstorm caught locals and municipal services off guard, paralyzing transportation. School buses and public transport were stranded on roads, unable to move without assistance. Fire trucks were called in to tow vehicles. Some people, despite the risks, attempted to drive through the blizzard. However, many found themselves stuck in deep snow. Large traffic jams formed, and pedestrians tried in vain to push vehicles free. Even snowplows struggled to keep the roads clear. A man witnessed the eruption of a massive mud volcano in the middle of a field. These formations occur when natural gases accumulate deep underground. When the pressure becomes too high, it bursts through the surface, mixing with soil and groundwater. The eruption was both rare and impressive, with the earth appearing to boil. It continued as if a giant mole or a subterranean monster had gone on a rampage. The dramatic event lasted for an extended period, captivating those lucky enough to see it. Recently, Saudi Arabia experienced an intense flood that submerged streets, turning them into lakes. Cars, like boats, struggled to navigate through the water. Some stalled vehicles were pushed by bystanders, while others drifted helplessly. Record-breaking rainfall raised water levels by several feet, and mountains transformed into cascading waterfalls. The streets resembled fast-moving rivers, with powerful currents sweeping away lightweight vehicles. One car was carried along until it hit a pole, preventing it from being washed further down the stream. Walking outside was impossible. The rushing water could easily knock a person off their feet. In addition to the flooding, a rare hailstorm struck the region. The hailstones were the size of large nuts, blanketing fields along the highway. It looked like snow, but the ground was covered in ice. Streams of water mixed with hail from icy rivers. A flock of sheep huddled together, visibly frightened by the unusual sight. Residents, shocked by the event, recorded videos of the surreal white desert. Unfortunately, some cars were severely damaged by the hail, with windshields cracking under the impact. Despite the hazardous conditions, many continued their journeys, perhaps hoping the storm would soon pass. In the middle of a sandy desert, men discovered a new gas field. From beneath a thick layer of soil, gas began to erupt with force. Although they might have struck on fortune, one of the men decided to ignite the gas, capturing the stunning spectacle on video. The result was a fiery display resembling a volcanic eruption in the desert. It was a breathtaking sight, leaving onlookers in awe of nature's raw power. A man witnessed a colossal landslide in a quarry, creating an optical illusion that made it seem as if he was ascending. In reality, a large chunk of land broke away and began sliding smoothly downward. The cameraman took significant risks, standing dangerously close to the edge of the cliff. The ground around him was visibly cracked, and he could have fallen from a great height at any moment. The cause of the landslide is unclear, but the spectacle was both dramatic and hazardous. Indonesia continues to suffer from relentless flooding, a crisis that has persisted for over a year and caused extensive destruction. The footage captures people standing waist-deep in water near their homes. The fast-moving floodwaters swept away outdoor furniture, tables, and chairs, carrying them downstream. In the background, a woman's scream can be heard as the situation intensifies. Terrified, residents clung to fences to avoid being swept away by the current. Motorbikes were toppled and cars were half submerged. The financial toll of the flood is staggering, with estimates ranging between $75 billion and $160 billion in damages. Japan recently experienced torrential rain that led to severe flooding. Within hours, record rainfall submerged streets, leaving them eerily empty as most people stayed indoors. A few ventured out with umbrellas, braving the deluge. What looked like a swimming pool was, in fact, a completely flooded underground passage. In Tokyo, the metro entrance resembled a waterfall as tons of water poured down from surrounding streets. The water was ankle deep, forcing some to remove their shoes to keep them dry. Even the drainage dumps couldn't cope with the sheer volume of rain. A car trapped in an underpass became a waterlogged prison, with water pouring from the ceiling. Its windshield wipers were still on, but they were no match for the rising floodwater engulfing the vehicle. A powerful tornado recently swept through Oklahoma, leaving a trail of destruction. Entire homes were obliterated, with debris, furniture, and personal belongings scattered across the landscape. Cars were flipped over, some landing upside down on roads. Though a few homes remained standing, they were severely damaged, with shattered windows and roofs punctured by debris hurled by the violent winds. 11 people were injured, and tens of thousands were left without power. Thousands more lost their homes entirely, marking another chapter of devastation in a region frequently struck by tornadoes. After several days of continuous rain, water streams began eroding the mountain's base, causing the soil to weaken and crumble. Initially, small chunks of earth and rock tumbled down sporadically. Locals watched nervously as the hillside showed signs of an impending collapse. Then, in an instant, the slope gave way. A massive landslide ensued, with tons of soil, rocks, and uprooted trees plummeting downhill, obliterating everything in their path. The debris crashed into a river at the base of the mountain, completely destroying the road that ran alongside it. A group of men witnessed a sudden flood rushing towards them. One man immediately ran on foot, while another opted to flee in his car. Initially, the car moved slowly, allowing the man on foot to overtake it. The floodwaters, filled with debris and tree branches, surged behind them. The car occasionally sped up and slowed down, seemingly leading the flood. Though it managed to stay ahead, the sudden flood was an unexpected and frightening event for those caught in its path. An excavator was working on a steep roadside, laying new utilities. The construction likely destabilized the slope, causing a large crack to form in the road. At any moment, the excavator could have plunged down the slope. Thinking quickly, the operator used the excavator's bucket as an anchor, pressing it into the ground for support. This clever maneuver saved the machine. Moments later, a large section of earth and asphalt broke away and tumbled down, leaving the excavator perched miraculously over the edge. A group of men hiking in the mountains witnessed a rare phenomenon, a small tornado forming just a few feet away from them. One of them quickly pulled out his phone to capture the moment. The mini tornado swirled briefly, amusing the group before dissipating in seconds. Tourists in the Swiss Alps were relaxing in a mountain cabin when they heard a loud creaking noise. Rushing outside, they saw a large rock face breaking apart. Rocks and debris cascaded down as a massive crack in the cliff widened. Suddenly, a huge section of rock gave way, crashing onto a glacier below with a thunderous roar. The impact sent a thick cloud of dust into the air. When the dust settled, it revealed a crater-like formation reminiscent of a meteorite strike. Thankfully, there were no hiking trails or people down below, and the nearby cabins remained unharmed. Which scene amazed you the most? Let us know down in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel to stay tuned for more thrilling compilations in our next videos.